Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz interview series with Macedonia-based jazz pianist, composer, and arranger Gordan Spasovski. He reached out to the program about his newest 2021 CD, Light Pillar, and his life in jazz. Over the years, he has played in many European jazz festivals and with big names like Randy Brecker and the great Sheila Jordan. He is certainly keeping the spirit of jazz alive and very well. Enjoy his story. Hey, thanks for reaching out to the show, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you. It's an honor.
I really enjoy your music, and I'm just always delighted at the amount of wonderful jazz musicians that exist in the world.
Well, thank you so much. I really enjoy that you like it. So beautiful.
Right on. So where exactly in the world are you located right now?
I'm in Macedonia, the other side of the globe.
Yes, for sure. Well,
yeah.
How's everything going there? I know everybody's on a different pace with COVID and all of that, so how you all doing?
As you know, probably you've heard this from most of the musicians around the world, so it's not really been the best year for for us. I think the main problem is that we're used to perform live, so now that's kind of a problem because of the whole pandemic situation, and we have more time to spend with our instruments and to create more music. So I think we should take also this in consideration.
And you have a wonderful new album out, Light Pillar. Talk to me a little bit about releasing music during this particular time.
Well, this album was actually recorded before the pandemic, and when all this happened, we just thought it's best to postpone it a little bit because we didn't know what to expect. Yeah, so as time went by, we were expecting that everything will be finished sooner and that we can play live concerts and perform more often and present this music, but unfortunately that didn't happen, so we decided to release it now, and it was released on 15th of May by Arranger Records. It's a pretty new record company from Macedonia. It's a part actually of the Association of Jazz Musicians in Macedonia. So this is their second release.
Talk to me a little bit about your vision for the sound of this. What were you going for?
Actually, this is a kind of a different segments of my musical experience through the years. So the songs weren't created at a short period of time. So some of the songs were created a few years behind, and some of them I composed recently. So it kind of shows a different picture between the years and different perspectives and how it changed through I would say a period of 5 years. And I tried to catch an image of different perspectives, I would say, how I felt in those times. So I think we can hear some different moods there. Light Pillar is a lyric composition. It's a kind of a lyrical melody with a lot of traditional influence there. You can hear it's kind of an odd meter song, but still the melody has the leading aspect of its song. So yeah, I think there's some different colors to hear.
So, did you grow up in Macedonia?
Yes, that's right.
So, talk to me a little bit about how you got involved with jazz and kind of who some influences were for you.
I was a classical pianist, and when I was around 16, I think, or 17, I heard the first jazz performance live, I would say. Before that, I was listening to jazz, but not so much. It wasn't my main subject, I would say. I was more into classical music as a student, of course. There were some friends of mine that were studying in Austria, in Graz. It's a pretty nice school. So I've heard them live, and that was the moment that I actually got infected with this music. And later I went to university with my first mentor, Sheila, and then And then I went also to Graz, to Austria. I studied there for a few years, met a lot of people there, a lot of wonderful musicians, get to hear a lot of different heroes of mine, I would say. So a lot of, as time went by, the taste, of course, developed and changed, I would say, not developed maybe. But still, I always enjoy the jazz tradition and, the albums that were recorded, I would say, before 1970 the most. So
wonderful. Well, obviously as a musician and ambassador for jazz, it's always wonderful to have a different perspective from the American perspective. I mean, we're kind of drenched in it here, but tell me a little bit about, as a musician, as one that loves jazz, why it's so important to keep this tradition alive.
I think in every music, also in every traditional music around the globe, I think it's really important to keep the essence of it. And at the same time, it's natural for it to grow. For example, contemporary jazz music, you can, although it's American music, but the contemporary jazz music is influenced by many different cultures and many different traditions. It's the best example, I think. At the same time, I think it's really important to keep the roots in mind. So I think the essence is the most important part to stay in the jazz field, I would say.
So you've been fortunate, as much as you've loved jazz and followed, big names in jazz, you've had the chance to play with the likes of Sheila Jordan and Randy Brecker.
Yes.
What is it like to get on stage with people that have so much history in this music and are really big names?
Well, it's wonderful. This was a once in a lifetime experience. Sheila Jordan is an amazing person, and she's so supportive, and it was really great experience, and it helps us grow in the right way, I would say. So she gives you a track that you should follow. I think this is really important for a young jazz musician to have a path set, I would say.
And you played at a lot of festivals, you've been around. What do you try to teach younger players that get around you? Like, how do you try to mentor them to become better musicians and people?
First of all, I would say that everyone should have a clear path and should see where they're trying to go. So, and also to try to keep their inner creativity. So everyone has a different perspective of what good music is, or what they appreciate. Actually, I'm not really experienced in an experienced educator, but I have some students, and I try to tell them to keep this tradition in mind and to stay in love with their, how should I say, with their first spark in music. So to have that always in mind and try to grow in that direction. So
wonderful. So what do you like the best about being a jazz musician?
Well, honestly, to be a spontaneous composer, maybe that's the short answer to that question. We are playing different things all the time. We are very spontaneous, so I think this is the best part of it. There are always surprises. Sometimes they don't work really well, but it's natural, I think so. But this is the best part of it.
So why do you love jazz?
I don't know. It's just that thing that makes me, that state of mind. When you know that you belong in that space. When you're listening to jazz, you're just in that special place where it's not there's no different way to get there. So this is the most important thing.
Wonderful. Hey man, thank you for taking a minute to talk with Neon Jazz, and good luck with everything.
Thank you so much for having me. It was an honor.
Thanks for listening and tuning in to another Neon Jazz interview, where we give you a bit of insight into the finest players in Macedonia, Kansas City, and spots all over the world, giving fans all that jazz. And thanks to Gordon for his time, music, and story. If you want to hear more interviews, go to Famous Interviews with Joe Domino in the iTunes Store. Visit neonjazz at youtube.com, and for everything Neon Jazz all the time, go to the neonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends.
Neon Jazz.